Hello, how are you?
Good. How are you, Tramika?
I'm doing good. Nice to
I'm trying
finally.
to turn my camera on for you.
Oh, okay.
Sorry about that. Let's see.
No, you're good. You are good. I'm gonna give it a few more minutes, and then we're gonna start it.
So it's nice to finally meet you, kind of, virtually. I know we've talked quite often via text and everything. So
awesome. Yes, I feel the same. How are you? How was the holiday?
The holidays were really nice. They were quiet, of course, which was kind of a good thing. I mean, uneventful sometimes is nice.
Yeah, I agree.
How was yours?
It was good. I actually traveled for Christmas, and then we were just home for New Year's. So chill, relax, quiet, same, a mix of both. We traveled with my husband's family for Christmas, so it was a lot of us there, but just us, my immediate household family. So yes, I have been enjoying the quiet relaxation time. And I'm be honest, I don't even want to come out of vacation mode. I'm like, no, tomorrow I'm going back to my full grind, and I'm just like, man, can I get one more day? But it's time.
Just one more day. That's nice to be able to all be together, at least just for, even if it's just for a short amount of time.
Yes. Yeah, we had a good time. It was really nice. I'm going to give it about one more minute, see if we get to hop on Zoom. We're already live on Facebook. Thank you all so much for joining me. Thank you so much for everyone who joined me last year. So I know that this is a new time, so I'm sure that eventually you'll get adjusted to it. This was a better time for me to make sure that I'm able to prepare for my week effectively and just a little bit earlier during the day while it's still a little bit of light outside, right? And so we have changed from 9 p.m. Eastern time to 5 p.m. Eastern time. Still able to come and join me on Zoom. If you want to ask any questions, if you want to be able to make any comments, you will be able to do that live on Zoom. Now, you can leave messages on Facebook. The only difference is I won't be able to access those until I'm actually off of the live Zoom call. So I'll always go back and look at them, answer any questions. But I want y'all to join me live. So again, thank you for those who rock with me all last year. We're here back again, new year 2021. I have some brand new content, gonna have a lot of special guests for you all as well. A lot of stuff for us to be able to take advantage of, but it is a new time. So I want y'all to be able to note the new time that I am here, 5 p.m. Eastern time. I think that when I sent out an email, I put like new year, new content, I don't know, but I had put the same me, and I want to change that. I want to be a new me this year. Like, I love Tramika, right? And I'm becoming, or I'm on this journey of becoming the best version of myself. And at every level, something about me is going to be new or is going to change. So it's not the same old me. It's going to be a new me this year. It's going to be a new you. And I'm going to get into, as we start talking about this Sunday, setting the tone for the year, I'm going to get into why that's going to be very, very important. So I'm waiting for a few more people to hop on Zoom with me, or either hop on Facebook Live. Go ahead and tag, if you're on Facebook Live, tag a mom who needs to hear this. Please share for moms to be able to hear this as well. And we're going to go ahead and get started in about 30 seconds here. Hey, Toya. How are you? Good to see you. You on mute, but good to see you.
Okay, now I'm in here. Okay.
Hey.
Good to see you.
You as well. How's it going?
Good. Just getting back from the beach from New Year's.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. Let me go ahead and turn some light on. My husband watching that football game, so.
Oh yeah.
I had to get myself together.
Yeah. So how was the weather on the beach?
You know, It was rainy the whole time, but I'll be honest with you, with the whole COVID thing, we pretty much stayed in the beach house the whole time.
Oh,
We went
okay.
out, like one time.
Mhm.
We got to the beach once, but pretty much we just chilled. We had a view. It has like a little lake in front of it, and you could still see the beach from like a little
Mhm.
far off.
Uh-huh.
So we were pretty much fine.
Cool.
It rained, but we enjoyed it.
That sounds good. We went to Florida for Christmas, and so we stayed in like a Airbnb. It's a real big house, 8 bedrooms, 4.5 for 5 baths, something like that. I don't know, but it was really really nice. The weather was nice as well, but we didn't go anywhere either. We didn't even go to the beach, but we did have a pool and jacuzzi on site, so they was able to do that. And then the house was on a lake, so that was nice. So I love the beach. This like 2020 is the first year I think I probably never got to the beach. I love water and I love candles. Like both of them really soothes me. And
Yes.
was the first year I didn't get to a beach. So I was curious to know how the beach weather was in January.
Oh yeah. It actually today was the first day it actually cleared up, and I couldn't believe it was the day we were leaving. So
Don't you
yeah,
hate it?
I know. But like I say, you just enjoy what you can, do what you can. As long as we had the music and some wine, little relaxation, we were good to
Mhm.
go.
Yep, sounds good. So we are going to go ahead and get started. Again, if you are just joining me on Facebook Live or if you're joining me on Zoom, you're more than welcome to still hop on Zoom. Zoom, I love interaction. I love engagement. So if you've been rocking with me, you know that's I love for you all to talk to me, be able to ask questions. I love questions and I love feedback. And so you still have time to jump on Zoom live with us if you can. I'm gonna keep an eye out and make sure I'm letting everybody in from the waiting room. But if you are on Facebook, that is perfectly fine as well. I do ask that you tag another mom or share on your page so that another mom can see this information. It is 2021, y'all. I am so excited. So happy New Year. If I'm talking to you for the very first time, Santoya and Aliska, thank you so much for joining me live on Zoom. So if you do want to say anything or if you have any questions, if you can drop it in the chat box, let me know you want to come on live, or if you want to just ask your question or make the comment and you want me to read it aloud, you can drop that in the chat box as well. So just let me know, either one goes. And so today we are going to be talking about setting a tone for the new year. So I just have a few tips that I want to leave with moms on how I pretty much set my year, and then some additional tips on how we can make sure we stay consistent throughout the year, because just as well as I do, I've been here where we set goals or we make these New Year resolutions, and then by March, by July, by September, by December, it's like, wait, the year is gone. What have I accomplished? Or, oh man, I fell off. And so, what I want to do is just leave you all with just a little guideline of how I actually plan out my year. Which is going to be paraphrasing the mom goal session that I had just a few weeks ago. And then I just want to give some additional tips on top of that. I believe I have 10 tips on what you can do consistently throughout the year that's going to help you to not only set the tone for the year, although I know that's our topic, but to remain consistent and to meet the goals that you desire to accomplish for the year. So the first thing I want to start with is I want to go back and do a quick recap of the Mom Goals planning session. So some of you on Facebook, you may have attended that Mom Goals planning session. If you have, put in the comment section. I want to know who you are. What was your biggest takeaway from that particular session? So we got on Zoom. It was a little over an hour, and we talked about 4 main categories that I use when it comes to setting my goals every year. So I'm only backtracking. Typically, what I like to do is set the goals at the end of the year for the next year coming. So I don't wait until January 1st. I don't wait till the first week. Like, I want to start and have the mindset and be ready and on go when the new year starts, right? So typically the last quarter, somewhere more likely between November and December before the holidays hit, I'm actually setting my goals for the next year. And so there's 4 main categories that I use when I set those goals. And if you want access to this Mom Goals planning session, it was free. I do not mind sending out that recording or the slideshow, because I did a slideshow as well. Just let me know, hit me up, write in the comments section, inbox me, email me, text me if you have my number, whatever that looks like for you, communicate with me. Let me know you want a copy of it and I'll be happy to send it to you. So 4 main areas. The first one, so out of the 4, people always typically do the third one, and I'll get to it. But there's 2 before, and then there's 1 after, or kind of 1/2 after, that people typically don't think about. So the middle, everybody kind of, has down, but there's 2 before and 2 after that people typically don't think about. And so I want to share those with you. The first one is reflect. And so every year, grab your pen and paper, digital, whatever you're going to do to be able to write these things down. Because again, I have 10 tips to share with you afterwards as well. So reflect. Typically what I do is I'll always look at my year prior. So the first thing to ask yourself is, in 2020, did you set goals? So that's the first question in reflection. Did you actually set goals? If you didn't set goals, why didn't you set goals? If you did set goals, the next thing you're asking yourself, did you meet the goals? So it's a reflection of year past to say, hey, did I meet my goals? Did I meet some of them? Did I not quite make it on any of them? Like what happened? Or did I meet some of them? Like what happened, right? And so figuring out what actually happened. Did I get distracted? Did life happen? We know COVID. I always say COVID is not an excuse because we have to figure out how to pivot in COVID and live through COVID. I got that from Alicia, live through COVID. So we're not going to use that as an excuse not to meet our goals, but we may have to change things up just a little bit, right? And so figuring out if you set goals and you didn't meet the goals, what was the reasons why? Again, I talked about distractions. Maybe life just happened. Maybe, 1 year I wrote in my notebook, and I'm just going to be perfectly honest. I got lazy. And so life happened. I got lazy. I got distracted. I started doing some other stuff. Some other things became a priority that necessarily should not have been. And so being realistic, you don't have to show anybody this information, right? So being realistic with yourself and knowing why you didn't meet the goals is something that's going to help you. And so if you say, okay, I got distracted, what distracted me? Maybe it was social media. Maybe it was a friend. Maybe I was in a dating season and I started dating the wrong people. Or maybe, I don't know, somebody came along or something came along, binge watching TV shows. And I'm not saying these things are bad, but if they're distracting you from what the bigger picture is or what your goals are, then you need to get your priorities in line. And so knowing realistically what has distracted you, what you do is you plan accordingly for the next year. So, okay, let's just use social media, for example. I got distracted by social media. And when I was supposed to be writing a book because I wanted to launch my book at the end of the year, I was scrolling through social media. So what does that look like? I'm going to give you an example. So as I reflect, I figure out what the problem was and why I did not meet my goals. And now as I set my goals for the next year, I'm going to limit my social media time. So like if you have an Apple, you're on iPhone, they have limits where you can like set screen time. Or just have discipline and say, okay, well, I'm only going to scroll for 30 minutes and then I'm going to get back to writing my book for an hour. If I do it for an hour, then I'll go back on social media for 15 minutes. But realistically, knowing what sets you back and making sure that you create a task or something around that so that you don't have that same distraction or that same issue or barrier for the following year is going to be very key when it comes to setting and planning your goals and accomplishing your goals for the following year. The next one is casting vision. And so we always go in and we'll say, okay, well, I want to buy a new car. I want to buy a new house. I want to get my credit right. I want to go back to school. I want to write a book. I want to start a business. I want to grow my business. I want to get a promotion. I want to shift gears in my career. I want a more loving marriage. It doesn't matter, whatever it may be. Those are specific goals and targets that we have set forth. And that's that third one. I'm jumping into it. That's typically what people do. They go right in and say, I want to do boom, 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 X, Y, and Z. But we forget to cast vision. And the reason why casting vision is so important is because there has to be a bigger picture that the smaller goals align to. And so I get that you want to accomplish something for 2021 or you want to accomplish something in 2020, but what's the bigger picture? What does that look like and how does that align to 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now? There are literally people out there who have a 40-year plan for their life. And so unless we cast vision and have the bigger picture, we're just living year to year from goal to goal, task to task, target to target. I want you to cast vision for your life, have a bigger picture of what you desire to do. And then now third thing, you set the goals, the benchmarks, the targets for what you need to accomplish so that you're meeting the bigger picture or the bigger goal, that vision. So the first thing is reflection. The second one is cast vision. The third one is going to be go ahead and set your goals, your targets, your benchmarks, whatever it is for the new year for 2020. The last two things I'm going to kind of group together, so 3 and 4, is plan and execute. So the first part of it, planning, what does that look like? Okay, so now I know that I've done my reflection. I know that distractions, that was the reason why I did not accomplish my goals. Let's roll with the writing the book. I know that just being distracted on social media was the reason why I was not able to complete writing my book and be able to actually officially launch my book or whatever that looks like in 2020, right? So I figured out different ways of things that I'm going to do to be able to eliminate the distractions or the barriers to be able to complete the book and actually launch the book in 2021. I've casted the vision because the book is just the first step. I want to open a home, just whatever that may look like. I'm just throwing out examples for this example of writing a book. So I cast the bigger picture. I know that a book is only a portion of it, and that's the only goal, one small goal towards the bigger picture of what I'm trying to accomplish. The next thing I need to do is I need to plan. I can't just say I want to write a book and then think in December I'm going to be able to launch my book. So what does that look like? If my book is I'll create an outline. If my book is going to have 12 chapters, then maybe I need to write 1 chapter per month. So if I need to write 1 chapter per month, then I need to be writing how many times per week? How many times how many hours should I be writing per week to make sure that I can get a full chapter by the end of the month? And so we kind of work backwards, but you create a task list for yourself to say, okay, this is what I need to accomplish weekly, monthly, and quarterly, so that by the end of the year, if it's an end year goal, I have actually set tasks in place to be able to accomplish the goal. So I hope that makes sense. And so planning, creating that task or that action list is the next part of being able to reach your goal. The last thing, number 5, execute. So it's one thing to have it in your mind, to have it on paper. I always say, if I do not write it down, it does not exist. And my clients are like, absolutely, y'all know, like we could be in a phone conversation and we can be talking. If I do not write it down, you'll text me and be like, Shamika, did you? And I'm like, oh man, I forgot. So put it on paper. Words come to life to me when I put them on paper. So we have to write it down. But beyond writing it down, to be able to remember, we have to make sure we execute. And so we have to show up and make sure we do what we need to do. So in the event of writing a book, I got to show up. What does that look like? Maybe I need a quiet space. Maybe I need to leave my house. That may be a little bit difficult with COVID, but whatever you need to do to be able to motivate yourself to actually complete the task list, you need to put those things in place. And so those are the 5 categories that typically I use to set my goals and reach my goals. And like I said, when I was actually promoting to get moms to come into the mom goals planning session, I typically meet about 95% of my goals every single year. And that's the strategy that I use. Now, of course, we were in that planning session, like I said, for over an hour. If you want access to it, if you want a copy of that to get more in detail as I break down those 5 key areas, leave it in the comments, text me, inbox me, email me, whatever you need to do, communicate with me and let me know, and I'll make sure you get a copy of that. But I wanted to start there because as I go into setting the tone for the new year, we have to make sure that we have the goals in place, right? So yeah, I got you. I'll make sure you get one. So we have to make sure we have the goals, the vision, the action list, all of that already in place before I go into these tips that I'm going to give you. So let's get into it. If you are on Facebook, please go ahead and tag a mom who needs to hear this information, or please share on your page. Thank you so much for those of you who showed up with me live on Zoom. If you do have a question that you want to ask live or something you would like to say, please click the link to join me live on Zoom. Otherwise, I will go back and look at all the comments on Facebook afterwards. Okay, so 7 tips, y'all. Setting the tone for the new year. So this is one thing that I just want to put out here before I talk about these tips or give you these tips for setting the tone for the new year. I believe that this year I want us all to look at things differently. And I had to come into this realization for myself, right? And so every year, I'm guilty of it too. You'll see people on Facebook like, this is my year. This is my month. This is going to be my day, my week, whatever that looks like. We said that in 1990. We said it in 2000. We said it in 2011, 12, 13, 14, 15, all the way up to 2021, right? So every single year, and don't get me wrong, some years we have good years, some years they've not been as good. We always get blessed every year, but some years are like awesome. Like I would say for me, like I know a lot of people went through tragedy in 2021, but I had an amazing year. And so I'm so grateful for that. But I want us to get I want to challenge all of us, and I'm challenging myself as well, to get out of the mindset to say, this is my year. This is going to be my month. This is going to be my day. This is going to be my week. How about I am the person? I am all I need to be able to create the change that I want to see in my life. So I am the person. And so it's up to us. I don't care what year you in. I don't care what month you in, what week you in, what day you in. You have what you need inside of you to be able to create the change that you would like to see in your life. And so whether it's 2019, 2021, 22, all the way to 25, if you want to write the book, you make it happen, right? So it's the person and not necessarily. Now, I do believe, don't get me wrong, that there are different seasons and times for things. I wholeheartedly believe that. But most times we're sitting around and we're waiting for this miracle to happen, or these like crazy people to come through our life, whatever that looks like. I don't know, unicorns to come through our life, right? We're waiting to be invited into circles. We're waiting to be invited into different stages or platforms, whatever that looks like, or for the promotion, or for you to go on somebody else's radar or across somebody's desk. How about you are the person you need to become, I should say, the person that you need to create this change in your life. And so it's all up to us. It's not on a year or a day or a week. Again, things do happen in certain seasons, but if you want certain changes to happen in your life, you have to become the person that you need to be. You have to figure out what you need to do. We're not waiting for people. We're not waiting for these miraculous things to just appear on our doorstep to say, okay, well, now it is your time. We're going to create the opportunities for ourselves. We're going to let God do the rest, right? But we're going to show up and we're going to become the best version of ourselves to be able to create the opportunities for ourselves. So that's the first thing that I wanted to put out there. And so when it comes to change in your life for this year, know that you have what it takes. And if you don't have it, if it's a skill that you're missing, if it's a connection that you're missing, we just have to be intentional. We have to be so intentional about making sure we get what we need so that we can accomplish the goals and desires that we have for our life. So I just wanted to throw that out there. The first tip that I'm going to give is baby steps. So making sure, let's just say amen, making sure that you take things in baby steps. So oftentimes, y'all know I work with moms. The four main categories that I focus on when I talk to moms or with my clients is time management, organization, planning, and self-care. And then I have a small group of moms that I do business coaching with. And so when moms come to me, and I was the same way, it's like we want to go from 0 to 100. I want to I don't know. I want to start the business, grow the business, make 6 figures all in 1 month. Now, I'm not saying that it can't happen, but we have to be realistic when it comes to certain things, right? And so we shouldn't put that much pressure on ourselves, put that much pressure on our bodies, our mindset, all of that. So take baby steps. It's okay to say, I have a 3-year plan to get this accomplished, or I'm not going to accomplish this in the first quarter of the year. I'm going to accomplish it by the end of the year. And so whatever you do, whatever the goals and desires is that you have for your life, it is okay to take baby steps. So that's my first tip. The second tip that I have is don't start what you won't finish. And so this is something that I've been really, really, really big on myself about this year, because I see myself even in business, like making small little compromises, or small sacrifices and compromises are two different things. So of course, if I'm grinding, I have to make certain sacrifices. I may have to stay up later. I may have to wake up earlier in the morning. I may have to work more hours. I may have to work on the weekend when I don't want to, right? Those are sacrifices. But compromising is like, I really hate to do something, but I'm doing it because I want the client, or I'm doing it because I want the money, or I'm doing it because I want the promotion, or I'm doing it because I want to be on their radar, or I'm doing it because I want the relationship, or I'm doing it because I want them to like me, I want them to love me. Those are the subtle compromises that we make. Don't start anything that you're not willing to finish. And so we have to be realistic with ourselves about, you know, what are the non-negotiables for us? For me, I absolutely do not like I'll say with self-care on Fridays. I do not like working a full day. And I'm just using this for example on Fridays. So I only have my calendar up to 12 o'clock. I'm not willing to compromise to go past 12 o'clock because that is something that I like for me. And so if I do that, what's going to end up happening, I'm going to say, for example, I take sessions after 12 o'clock on Friday. I'm going to start dreading those sessions and I'm not going to want to do them because I've started something that I can't necessarily finish or don't desire to finish. And I just use that as an example. So look at your goals, your desires that you set for 2021. Be realistic of yourself. Like if you're not a morning person, why would you say you're going to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning and exercise? Like that don't make sense because eventually what you're going to do is you're going to fall off. And so be realistic with yourself and do not start anything that you're not going to be willing to finish. Now, again, compromises and sacrifices are totally two different things. So make sure you know the difference. And if you need a little bit more help in trying to establish between the two, I'll be happy to walk you through that. The next thing, number 3, is break it down per quarter. So break it down in quarters. So what I do is I'll take all my goals that I want to accomplish for the year, whatever that may be. And I'll say, okay, this is what I absolutely want to accomplish in the first quarter, second quarter of the year, third quarter, fourth quarter. My bigger goals being fourth quarter, so that way I can work through them first, second, and third. If it's something small, I can knock out. Like, for example, I need to renew my business license. Not necessarily a goal, but it's a task on my task list, right? That's something I can just knock out in first quarter, be done, scratch it off my list. And so depending on what the goals are, both personal, professional, or in business, make sure that you are spreading it out throughout the quarters. That helps you to not say, okay, I got 20 things that I'm working on at the beginning of the year. No, take it a quarter at a time and break it up a quarter at a time. I may work on something very small for the first quarter. I might skip it for the second quarter. Third quarter, I may pick it back up so I can be done by fourth quarter. Whatever that looks like for you, breaking it down into quarters of the year is going to help you prioritize. That's going to be the biggest thing. It's going to help you with time management, planning, as well as scheduling. So that's number 3, breaking it down per quarter. Number 4 is create a theme around your year to keep you motivated. So what can be including your theme? It can be a word, it could be a quote, it could be a scripture. I like to do a song for the year, whatever that looks like, but something that's going to keep you motivated. Because I guarantee you, especially if it's something hard that you're trying to fight up against against your body, mentally, spiritually, or anything like that, when it comes to like March or June, July, August, September, your body is going to try to fight against you. Distractions are going to come. So what are some of those things that's going to keep you motivated? My word for the year is position. And so for me, I'm putting myself in a position financially. That's like one of my big goals, becoming debt free for my personal goals for 2021. So I want to put myself in a position financially to be financially free so that more things can come, more blessings, more opportunities, things of that nature. In business, I want to put myself in a position to be able to help moms. And so that more things will come, even in more people will come, more connections, more opportunities, open doors, more revenue, whatever that looks like, right? And so position is my word for 2021. What will be your theme for the year? What will be your word, your scripture that you're going to live by, your quote that you're going to live by for 2021? Those are the things that you need to remember, write down somewhere, have it, so that because life is going to happen, right? And so it's going to be some times where you don't feel motivated to do anything. You're going to be in your feelings like I do sometimes. You ain't going to want to get out the bed. You ain't going to want to, if you're in business, you ain't going to want to meet with a client, customer. Like it happens, right? And so these things are here to keep us motivated and keep us on task to the vision that we have or the goals that we have ahead or that we desire for the year. So number 1, make sure you're doing baby steps. Number 2, don't start what you won't finish. Number 3, breaking it down in quarters. Number 4, create a theme for the year. Number 5 is creating boundaries. So boundaries is number 5. And you need to have boundaries not only in your personal life, not only at work or in business with clients and customers, but you need to have boundaries with yourself as well. And you need to have boundaries with the people within your house. So for example, the easiest example that I can give, even with the self-care, how I'm like on Fridays, that's my day, I'm gonna relax, I'm only working for a half a day, I'm not cooking dinner. I tell my kids, my husband, I don't care what y'all eat, I'm just not cooking. And so establishing those boundaries in my house is like, okay, this is my day that I need to rest and relax so that I can show up and do the things that I need to do for you. Same thing with your boss. Like, create boundaries. I need this boundary so that when I do come, I can show up and do what I need to do. I can do my job. Same thing in business. You know, if you are a business owner, you can't let your customers or your clients contact you anytime. Like, create boundaries, those office hours, or whenever they can email you, or whatever it is. Just making sure that you have some type of boundaries put in place, and then boundaries with yourself as well. Like, all the distractions of when we distract ourselves, because social media is not knocking on our door or calling our phone telling us to keep scrolling. We decided to do that, right? And so we have to make sure that we create boundaries with ourselves as well. The sixth thing is a reward system. And so this is really helpful. Just like kids like rewards, we as adults or moms, we don't think we do, but I know I like a reward. So putting a reward system in place is going to help you not only set the tone for the year, but it's going to help you to stay motivated throughout the year. And so for me, my reward system is, if I do get the work done for the day, then I can scroll through social media, or I can look through home decor websites, or I can go out and purchase something. I don't know. You might be going on a financial fast. Maybe debt free might be one of your things. So don't go buy nothing if debt free is what you're trying to do for the year. But just create certain reward systems in your life that's going to help you stay motivated and stay on track to be able, maybe it's binge watching a TV show on Saturdays or Sundays or whatever that may look like. Eating something, you know how people are on diet and they're like, oh, I got a cheat day. That's kind of like a reward system. So creating a reward system that's going to help you stay on task and stay motivated. Number 7 is assess quarterly. So just as I told you to create the goals, create the goals and break them down quarterly, you need to be able to go back and assess quarterly as well. Don't wait until December and say, man, like, oh man, I fell off or I didn't do it. So if we're assessing quarterly, we know what adjustments we need to make throughout the year. And so if what I put in place, right, I create a task list, I say I'm going to accomplish a particular goal, using the same example, writing a book, I say I'm going to, on my task list, I say I'm going to wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning before everybody else wake up. I'm going to try to dedicate 1 hour to just typing or writing, whatever it is, to get the book done, right? Well, what if 6 o'clock doesn't work for you because you got a small baby and your baby start waking up at 5:30? You don't want to have that task in place and then you get all the way to December and it's like, oh man, well, I just couldn't do it because the baby, like, that's the reason, that's my reflection for the next year. No, reassess and make the adjustments as necessary every quarter, so that, okay, it did not work for the first 3 months. I tried it, and you can assess earlier than that, but at least quarterly. Did not work for the first 3 months. Going into second quarter, I'm going to try doing night. So whatever that looks like for you, making sure that you reassess. So first one, baby steps. Second, don't start what you won't finish. Number 3, break it down quarterly. Number 4, create a theme for the year. 5, boundaries. 6 is a reward system. 7 is access quarterly. And then the last 3, I think that are the most important. The last 3 that I have for you, 8, 9, and 10. And again, we are talking about becoming the person that you need to be able to reach these goals, to be able to just have the things that you desire in life and live life on your own terms right now. Not after the kids are out of the house, not after they get to middle school, not after they get to high school. Like, what are the things that you desire to do in life right now during motherhood? And don't get me wrong, we're going to always be a mother, right? But most times, a lot of my clients would come say, I'm just going to wait till the kids get out the house, or even for dating, I'm just going to wait for the kids to get out the house. No, like, what does that look like for you now? How can you do and live life on your terms now with children in your home, right? And so the last 3 things, number 8 is accountability. You absolutely can't do it alone. I don't care what nobody say. At some point, there was some type of accountability, whether you watched a TV show, you got inspired by something you heard, something you've seen. At some point, there was an outside influence that caused us to keep going. looking into our baby face, looking at our face in the mirror to see us crying, wet pillows when you wake up in the middle of the night, whatever it is, there's some type of outside source or outside influence that causes you to keep going. And so we have to have that accountability. Why wait for it, right? Why wait and say, oh, I'm going to wait until I see something or I hear something. Lord, please, like, send somebody to say something. And he'll do that, right? He'll send us the signs, but be intentional about it. How can you find accountability to be able to reach the goals and desires that you have for your life? And so that looks like a mentor. That looks like maybe a family member, a friend, maybe a spouse. That looks like maybe hiring a coach. Whatever that looks like for you, make sure there is a certain level of accountability. And I'm going to take it a step further to say that when you find an accountability partner, let them know what you need from them. Don't just expect them to know exactly what you need from them. So if I have an accountability partner and I'm like, hey, I'm trying to eat right, like, what is that? Me helping you be accountable, what does that look like? And so maybe I can just send you my menu every week. You're not even responding. Like, I just need to send you my menu as the accountability to make sure I've done it. Whatever that looks like for you, make sure you communicate with the accountability partner to make sure that they agree. And then you set the expectations, or y'all have the conversation of what that looks like. But the accountability is absolutely a must. So that's an outside outside influence or an outside person. The next thing is consistency. So that's why assessing quarterly is going to be important. That's why breaking it down, going through baby steps, all of that is going to be very important, because we have to remain consistent. Life is going to happen. It's going to happen. You're going to get in your feelings. You're not going to feel like it sometimes. I've been there more than once, but we have to remain consistent. And so having that quote, that word for the year, that theme for the year, having that reward system, things that are going to motivate us is going to help us be consistent. And so whatever we do, we just have to keep going, and we cannot give up. And so taking a pause or taking a break is different than stopping. And what I am saying is make sure you don't stop. Absolutely make sure you take time for self-care. Absolutely make sure you listen to your body, listen to your mental state, stay healthy when it comes to those things, but we can't give up when it comes to meeting the goals. And the last thing that doesn't require any type of inside influence, you just have to find this deep down within yourself somewhere. Like, you have to be to the point, people talk, I'm just tired of saying the same old thing or doing the same old thing, or sick and tired of the same old routine. Like, you just have to find it within yourself to have the discipline. That's number 10. The discipline to do what you need to do. It is absolutely going to take sacrifices. You have to wake up early. You're going to have to go to bed later, whatever that looks like for you. You ain't got to do both, but you might have to do one. You are going to have to sacrifice some lunch breaks. You're going to have to sacrifice some car rides home. You're going to have to sacrifice some time at home, those naps, those TV shows. And I'm not saying you can't ever watch them, but you may not be able to watch them live when they come on Tuesdays at 8 o'clock. Like, you're going to have to sacrifice some relationships. You're going to have to sacrifice some, I shouldn't say boundaries, but relationships with people. There are going to be some sacrifices that you're going to have to make along the way, but it's all going to cause you to have that discipline to be able to do what you need to do. And so those are my 10 tips that I have for setting the tone for the year. I'm just going to review them really quickly. Number 1 is baby steps. Number 2, don't start what you're not willing to finish. Number 3 is break it down by quarter. Number 4 is create a theme for the year. Number 5 is boundaries. 6 is reward system. 7 is assess quarterly. Number 8 is accountability. Number 9 is consistency. And then number 10 is discipline. Now, one of the things that a lot of people ask me is like, okay, got my goals in place. I got all these tips. I got all these things in place. Like, what's next? Like, what's my first step? So creating that action list is absolutely your first step in going into it. Having that accountability, consistency, and discipline is what you're going to need to be able to accomplish the action list. But there are 3 things, y'all, 3 things that must change when it's time for you to go to the next level. So if you're comfortable where you are, these 3 changes or 3 things is not for you. So if you're really trying to level up and get to the next place in your life, and at every transition of leveling up, these 3 things are going to be required, and they come with changes. You're going to have to change your habits, your surroundings, and your conversations. Habits, surroundings, and conversations. So habits may look like, okay, instead of sleeping in to 7:30, 8 o'clock every day, I'm getting at 5 o'clock and I'm getting the work done. Or instead of going to bed or laying in the bed watching TV shows until I fall asleep, I am going to, like for me, I'm doing this year. Last year I started to do it, I didn't finish it. Every night I'm going to listen to something inspirational before I go to bed. It doesn't have to be huge changes, but there needs to be a change in your habits, your surroundings. Surroundings mean places that I'm showing up that I may not necessarily need to be showing up. You know, everybody on this clubhouse, what clubhouses or rooms are you showing up in that you know you don't need to be in? What places are you going with friends and family and traveling that you know you necessarily don't need to be there? So surroundings may need to change. You might need to change your seat at church, change your seat at work, change your desk area in your house. I don't know what it looks like for you, but you do. Surroundings is going to have to change as well. And the last thing is conversations. You absolutely have to be connected to people who are wanting to level up. So the biggest mistake, I'm gonna say this and I'm done. The biggest mistake that I've made in business and in my personal life is when I was ready to level up in certain areas, I always wanted to bring people who were closest to me. But it may not be time for them to change what they're doing, their habits, their conversations, their surroundings. It may not be time in their life or the season in their life for them to be able to level up. It happens at different times for different people. Or it may not be just the same path, right? I'm going this way and we're going this way. We may meet together again here, but just a different path to get there, right? And so the worst thing that you can do is drag somebody along on your journey. They don't want it. They didn't ask for it. Don't make them do it. And so I'm saying this because this is the most difficult part of accomplishing goals, going to the next level in your life, being able to change habits, conversations, and surrounding, is we always want to bring the people along with us that are closest to us. And of course, like I'm leveling up, God's blessing me. Of course, I'm going to want these things to happen in your life. But it looks different for everyone. And that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to cut off the relationship, but you may have to recategorize it. And so it's going to be important to make sure you enter into conversations with people, connecting to people to have those conversations that are familiar with your goals or ready or on the same path that you're on. So again, I'm not cutting off all the other people. That may not, some people you may need to cut off. Let's just be clear about that. But I may not need to cut everybody off. Maybe I need to recategorize the relationship or the friendship, family, whatever it is. It can be friends, family, whoever it may be, somebody in your community. But you absolutely have to start being in conversations on people who are on the same path as you. Okay, so now I'm starting, I want to write a book, or I want to start a nonprofit organization. What groups, what communities are you entering into? We'll see people who have the same goals because you're like-minded. And what's going to happen is you're going to be inspired, you're going to be motivated, you're going to be encouraged, and you're going to be empowered by those people. And so it's so important that we start being with people to have like-minded conversations or conversations of where we're going and the path that we're on. So those three things, we're absolutely going to have to change habits, surroundings, and conversations. So that's all that I have. Again, if you are on Facebook, you have any questions, comments, go ahead and drop it in the comment box. I promise I will go back and look at it. Thank you to Aliska, and I don't know, I wasn't even looking at my screen. More people may have tried to jump on. Toya, for jumping on with me on Zoom. If you have any questions or comments at this time, you come off mute or you can put them in the chat box.
No questions, but it was great. I feel like I just got myself handed to myself. So so I definitely got, this gives me a good foundation. So I hope everybody else got that too.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. And if both of you can just drop in a chat box or the comment box, what was your biggest takeaway? Right. Biggest takeaway from what I talked about. And for everybody else watching, these, if you just jumped in, you can always go back and watch the replay, but they are available on my YouTube channel by Thursday every week. So if you can't make them at 5 p.m. new time, just know that you can watch the replay again on my Facebook page, or it is available on my YouTube channel Thursday. Even though all the ones from last year, they are available on the YouTube page as well. And then two more things before we go. I do want to let you know that I'm going to be changing up how I'm doing the Sunday Night Live chats. I'm so excited about it. We're gonna I've planned all the way through this first quarter, so I'm super, super excited. Next Sunday, we're dedicating that Sunday to mompreneurs, and so we're going to have a bunch of mompreneurs come on there. I am going to still stream it live on Facebook, and they're going to be sharing with us what they do. So this is an opportunity. If you're interested in that and you have a business that you want to share, please reach out to me. I can make sure that you get that link to be able to sign up and come live with us next Sunday, same time, 5 p.m. Eastern time. Mompreneurs dedicated. It is our, well, I can't say it's our year, right? Because I just said, but it is our season, and we are becoming the best version of ourselves to be able to be successful when it comes to our businesses, or either birthing our businesses. And so we're going to be talking to a bunch of mompreneurs again next week, who are going to be sharing what they do. So you're more than welcome to hop on live or just listen to it. You might find you a new, I don't know, a trainer, whatever you may need to accomplish this goal. So I encourage you to listen in to see who is going to be on and going to share. The last thing I want to share is, make sure y'all get connected. Like I talked about the different changing your habits, your surroundings, and your conversations. Make sure that you get connected to a good tribe. And so although we have a tribe here, Mom Squad, She Networks, whatever you want to call it, and we are available. I am open right now for membership. We just launched on New Year's Eve. So excited about that. As well as I have the group coaching courses that's coming up in January. That is a 6-week virtual course where we go over time management. We talk about planning, scheduling, Sunday prep, building our personal brands to create a legacy. We talk about a bunch of good stuff. Even if you don't want to come and be a part of this tribe, make sure you get connected to somebody, y'all. Please, it's so important. It's so important, again, to be connected to like-minded people for the accountability and the support. You're going to need that on your journey of whatever you're trying to accomplish. So if you have questions or you want more information about getting connected to our tribe, we would love to have you. But if you do not want to get connected here, and it's okay, I believe that God is going to send the people who should be connected to us, but make sure you are connected somewhere. So look for you a mom tribe to be a part of. So that's the last thing that I wanted to share. Your takeaways, the last part, the changes, we must have habits around these conversations. Yes. Same thing, let's just say the same thing, habits change, surroundings change, conversations, and the quarterly goal breakdown. Thank you so much for sharing your biggest takeaways. And if no questions or comments, that's all I have for y'all tonight. All righty, y'all have a good night. Thank you again so much for tagging, sharing, and coming on Zoom Live with me. Y'all have a good night and have a productive week. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. Goodbye.
You're welcome.
Bye.